Open!
If the Paralympian was nervous, he didn't show it as he embarked on the toughest challenge of his life. If he fails to convince the judge he accidentally shot his girlfriend, he faces a life in jail.
You all right, Jan?
Yeah.
The mother of the woman he killed wanted to look him in the eyes today and chose to wear black on this, the most traumatic of days for her. But in court, the athlete managed to avoid her gaze as he stood with his back to her and his head bowed.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Finally, after an hour-and-a-half delay because of an absent interpreter, the court began.
Do you understand the charges, Mr. Pistorius?
I do, my lady.
How do you plead?
Not guilty, my lady.
And the athlete began launching into a fierce denial of the allegations, as spoken by one of his defence team.
I respectfully believe that the state has no basis whatsoever for alleging that I wanted to take Reeva's life. It will also be demonstrated during this trial that whilst Botha was the investigating officer and tasked with preserving the scene, that the scene was contaminated, disturbed, and tampered with.
The first state witness was a university lecturer who asked not to be filmed and who lives on the residential estate bordering the athletes. Michell Burger's home has line of sight with the Paralympians, and she told how she and her husband were woken by screams.
Her shouts, her screams were petrifying. Before the gunshots, moments before the gunshots, I sat in the bed and it's the most helpless feeling I've ever had in my life. I anticipated something was going to happen. Because of the climax of her shouts, I knew something terrible was happening in that house. I thought they were being attacked. It was blood-curdling. It was something that leaves you cold. It's something you can't portray in the court. You can't explain it. You just know that woman's life was really threatened.
She went on to say she'd heard a woman and a man's voice, both screaming and shouting before any gunfire.
I heard her screaming first. Then I heard her call for help. Then I heard a man call for help 3 times.
Then a sequence of 4 shots rang out.
There were 4 gunshots, and then I heard her petrified screaming sometime during the gunshots, and just after the gunshots was the last that I heard the same woman's voice that woke me that evening.
It was only next day, when she heard Oscar Pistorius had been arrested and was saying he'd mistaken his girlfriend for an intruder, that she felt she had to go to the police. But the athlete's defence lawyer insisted she'd got it wrong, that the woman's voice she'd heard was in fact the Paralympians.
If I tell you that his voice, when he's really anxious, when it pitches, it sounds like a woman, can you say it's not so? Or do you simply say, I don't know?
The lady, I'm sure what I heard was a woman, so I'm quite convinced it wasn't Mr. Pistorius.
This was not a good day for the runner. Surrounded by his burly cousins, he was bundled out of court and past the scrum of camera crews. But in the street outside, there was an even bigger crowd waiting to catch a glimpse of the man once heralded as a South African icon.
Absolute chaos as Oscar Pistorius is trying to leave the court. People running after the car and down the street. Total chaos.
And this is just the beginning of what looks like being a very long few weeks as the athlete fights to stay out of jail. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Pretoria.